Alright guys, welcome back to another lecture. Today we're gonna talk about how to create a table, how to insert data, how to update data, and how to delete data, right? So now, whenever you want to create a table, you have to understand what a table is and what a table represents. For example, if I want to create a table that is related to students, let's say, so you have to first of all figure out what kind of attributes that students has. For example, they have ID and also they have a name, and let's say they have a department, and also let's say they have a CGPA, right? Something very simple. I'll not make this very long. So now you have to understand multiple things about the attributes. For example, you need to understand the attributes data types. So you need to have a clear understanding about data types. So for example, ID is basically can be what? Can be a number, right? So every student has a student ID represented as a number. So you have a data type as a number in database, which is in other programming languages can be integer, float, or double. But in database we have a data type number, and also I talked about data types in the first video of the series. Name, so basically name is a string, and we know that string can be represented as varchar2, and also department can be a varchar2 as well. And then CGPA can be a number, but it will be a float number. So here we have another number, but it's a float number. How can we represent a float number? A normal CGPA, if you think about it, can be something like, let's say 3.65. So 3.65 here, what do I see? I see a three digit number, and we have a decimal point, and we have two digits after the decimal point. So it's totally a 3-digit number, and we have two numbers after the decimal point. Okay, we have two numbers right here after the decimal point, so it will be represented as a number 32. Okay, 3 digits in total, and we have 2 digits after the decimal point. Right. Also, you have date. For example, if I want to include registration date or something like that. But anyways, this kind of information is enough for us now. So if I want to create a table, so first of all, when you come here to try to create a table, you can say create table, and then you give the name of the table, which is right here. We said what? Students, right? Create table students. Then you open a bracket, okay? You open a bracket right here, and you start to now give the name of the attribute with its data type. And also we have to apply constraints. So there is something else you need to know, which is constraints type. Constraints type, because now something that will identify students, which is what? The ID, right? So every student has a unique ID, and in order to represent this ID, so basically this ID will be what? Primary key. So we have a constraint here, which is primary key, and also can be represented as PK, right? Can be represented as PK. We also have a foreign key, so foreign key, and then also the foreign key can be represented as FK. We have also not null constraint, not null, and this not null can be represented as NN, right? Double N. Not null means that an attribute that cannot be empty, it should have a value, which is, for example, a name, right? The name, for example, a student always should have a name. There is no student without a name, right? So, and also we have a check constraint, check, which is represented as CK, right? Check constraint, which is basically you apply a constraint to an attribute, and you have here a condition that to make this kind of attribute has a specific value. Okay, now taken in consideration the data type of the attribute and also the constraint, so here first of all, if I want to start with an ID, ID is a number, and also I need to give it a size, right? The ID should have a size. How many digits? So let's say, let's make it simple and make it 3 digits, all right? And also we need to make it a primary key, so we need to add a constraint. So you will add the keyword constraint, and you have to give it a constraint name. This constraint should have a name. The name of the constraint is actually has a 3 parts. So here we have constraint name. The constraint name have what? First of all, table name, then underscore, you have attribute name, underscore, then the abbreviation of the primary, the abbreviation of the constraint. So let me show this really quick right here. The name of the constraint should be what? First of all, the table name, which is students, underscore the attribute name, which is ID, underscore the abbreviation of the constraint, which is we already mentioned them here. So we need ID to be primary key, so we have to have the abbreviation PK here, and also we have to mention that this right here is a primary key. So this right here will be our first attribute. So you can separate the attributes with a comma. So now we have to start the second attribute, which is a name, right? Name is a string, so it will be a varchar2, and let's give it a size. So typical size of a name, let's say in the extreme condition, it will be like a 20 character name, all right? I don't know, whatever that is. Then also we need the name to be not null, so we have a constraint, then we have the constraint name, which is students underscore name underscore, it has to be not null, so it has to be here double N, which is right here what? Not null. Okay, then we need to go on with department. So here, let's say department, and let's say here again varchar2, and let me give it like 50 characters. Okay, and I'm not gonna add any constraint, because if a new student enrolls in the university, probably maybe they didn't choose the department yet, so okay, let's keep it at that. And then we have CGPA, which is a number, and also a number that it has a, as we said, it has a 3-digit in total and 2 digits after the decimal point, right? So this is right here how you create a table. If I click run, I can see here table created. So if I go to find in my database here, which is my schema, right, I can see the student table has been created 4 seconds ago. So if I click on students right here, I can see the columns, I can see the types, the length, the precision, and whatever else, right? Now, if I go and say select all from students, we didn't insert any data. So if I click run right here, it will not give me anything, right? No data found. So now what I need to do is to insert a row or insert multiple rows in the table. In order to use the insert key, let me give a general syntax of the insert. First of all, you start with insert into, then you have to give the table name, then you have to give the values. Okay, so first of all, insert into table name, within the brackets right here, you have what? Attribute names that are available in the table. Then you have to give the values here that are accordingly to the attributes names listed. So let me give an example here. So here we have insert into our table, which is students. The students table has ID, name, department, and CGPA, right? Then we have to give the values. The values right here is corresponding to the attributes that I just listed. So the ID, I want the ID to be, let's say, 101. Then I need the name, which is a string, so we have to put the value within quotations. and let's say here the name, let's say John, something like that. Then department, let's say we have, let's say pharmacy, and CGPA, let's say 2.50, something like that. Okay, so now I need to insert in student table, I need to insert in these attributes, I need to insert these values correspondingly. ID is 101, name is John, department is pharmacy, CGPA is 250, right? If I click run, now I have what? One row inserted. So now if I come back and say select all from students and click run, click again. There's something going on. Okay, yeah, here we go. So now we have one row. I can insert another row. Let's say insert into students. Again, we have what? ID, name, department, and we have CGPA. All right, and then we have the values for those. Let's say values, let's say 102, name, let's say Patrick that studies let's say information technology, or let me make it like that, IT. Then we have CGPA 3.0. If I click run, another row inserted. Let's say here 103 instead of Patrick. What name I should use here? Let's say Randy. Let's say the department right here should be something like tourism, and then here let's say 3.65. Now we have another row. So now if I select all from students and click run, now I have what? I have multiple rows. Okay, let's say that Patrick changed the department from IT to computer engineering. Okay, let's say IT didn't work with him, and let's say okay, didn't work for him, and he wants to change to IT. So now I need to update. So the general syntax for update, what do you want to do? You update what? The table. So you have here table name. Set. What do you want to set? You want to set, you have to give the name of the attribute that you want to change. The name of the attribute that we want to change right here is department. So we have to set the attribute name and equal to the new value. Okay, equal to the new value. So here we have to change the department to let's say computer engineering. So the new value right here is what? Is computer engineering. But the system or the compiler doesn't know by default which row we need to update. So that's why you have here a where statement where you have a condition, right? And how we can condition this? Basically, we can use the primary key to give to tell the compiler that go to row that has an ID 102 and change the department to computer engineering. Also, why we need to use the ID? Because the ID is the only data here that it's unique to a specific student. Because in a larger database, I know that we have only one Patrick, but in a larger database you may have multiple students that has name Patrick. So if I say here update students, set the department to be computer engineering where the name is Patrick, so basically that will affect every Patrick in the database. But that's why the primary key will come in handy right here, because the primary key will always it's always associated to only one row. So here let's apply this students, and let's say set department to be what? To be, let's say, computer engineering, so CMPE, right? Computer engineering. And run. You have what? 3 rows updated. You see? So now I didn't give any condition right here. So when you don't give any condition, all the rows will be updated. So now we have a very big mistake here. If select from students, now as you can see, everyone changed, okay, because we didn't use the primary key. So here we have an update students set department to be we did pharmacy for John, right? Pharmacy, where the ID is equal to 101, which is what? John, right? His to cover for this mistake, we have to bring the old departments. So here, run, 1 row updated, and then we need to change this to CMPE for 102, which is Patrick, and click run. We have another row updated, and then we need to change this to tourism, which is brings it back for Randy. Run, 1 row, another row updated. So now we have to select all to check our new select all from students, right? Run. Now I can see we have different, everything is correct, right? And now for the delete as a statement, delete from, you have to give the table name here, table name, and you have to give a condition. Same thing as update. We use the condition to identify which row we need to update. Also here, you are deleting from students table or any table where you have a condition here that you need to specify which row you need to delete exactly. And this is where we use the primary key to identify which row. Let's say that Randy, which is here, he studies tourism. Let's say that he left the school. Let's say he didn't continue and he left the school, and his data is not we don't need his data anymore, and we need to delete him from the table. So here you can simply say delete from students, where ID is equal to 103, which identifies what? Randy. So now if I click run, it say that 1 row is deleted. So now if I click back and see the information, now what? Randy is gone. And that's how simple it is. That's how simple it is. Now in this lecture I only talked about create table, which is right here, is a DDL command. And now I also talked about insert, update, and delete, which they are all right here, are DML commands. Okay, these 3 are DML commands. So now we talked about all the DML commands: insert, update, delete, and select. And also we talked about select in the all previous classes, and we used it in different ways, so you can go and watch that. Alright guys, so I hope that you found this video useful, and definitely we will do other lectures talking about other SQL topics, and also we will move on to other programming languages and other courses. So if you found this video useful, give us a thumbs up, and give us a like, and subscribe to the channel for any new courses, and I wish you to have a nice day.